Tonight, 7:45.
Everyone enjoyed their break of the football? Just get a nice long break and now it's back tonight?
Well, Fulham got knocked out of the cup. But then I saw England play as well, so swings and roundabouts.
The joke is there wasn't a break because there's loads of football all the time.
I thought you meant the Premier League break.
No,
people are gagging for it. They don't like international football, they don't like the tournaments, and the FA Cup's boring. If your team's not in it.
Yeah, every single person who gets pissed off about international football. To be fair, I will meet them halfway here and say that one in September's annoying. Innit?
I like it.
But
I like them all.
They all get stuck into it as soon as England get to probably about a quarter final. They're up for it, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't want to put the yards in
before it's too late.
They don't want to put the yards in, do they?
Well, Arsenal host Fulham tonight, so everyone can put their own yards in for
Jim?
that one.
I am. That's certainly the plan.
Hasn't invited me. Doesn't want me to start a ruckus in the home end.
Not a conversation we've had, no.
Imagine the kind of ruckus that'd be. Started by Marcus.
Yeah.
With Fulham fans.
No, just me.
At Arsenal.
No, it's just me.
Oh, it's just you, okay.
Yeah, I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando.
Just little lobster hammers everywhere. Be dangerous.
Bib on.
Yeah.
Plastic bib.
Yeah, all that.
For the blood, though. Not the lobster's blood.
Yeah.
The football fans' blood.
The medium rare steak blood. Well, yes. Big news, though, for Arsenal. They have appointed Andrea Berta as their new sporting director. And yesterday, I promised everybody an 80s reference on the Football Ramble. I got confused because we're talking about Andrea Berta today. And it did make me think that Arsenal have played a blinder here, because we all know that Andrea is Berta, lovely Berta, such a lovely machine.
No, it's like sometimes we think it's a dream.
No, that's the next bit. It's Bertha, lovely Bertha. You're such a lovely machine, and everyone who works with you will know just what I mean.
Yeah. 1985 to 1986, this show.
Unusual criteria for hiring a sporting director, but I guess we'll see how it turns out.
Well, everyone who works with him will know just what I mean when I say that he is a good sporting director.
No, it's actually, it does work really well as an analogy.
I know it does, yeah.
Because the whole point of the children's TV show from 1985 to 1986, Bertha, is that in the industrial estate and the manufacturing plant that Bertha works at,
yes,
Bertha is able to produce any item requested of her.
That's right.
And so
quite something.
So if you
can you produce a number 9 who scores goals?
Presumably you go into Andrea.
Because no one else can.
You go into Andrea Berta's
There's a bloke who is a number 9 and he can't even do it.
And he's there in his office with a conveyor belt in front of him and his big wide mouth open.
Now you're talking.
And you just push the button, and
out comes
Viktor Gyökeres comes out. And you're laughing. How much did it cost? Doesn't matter.
I'm already laughing.
I'm just the machine that produces the striker.
Sometimes I think you're a dream. Yeah, it's all there. It all makes sense. And I think we've done that, chat, and we should move on. But I am duty-bound to say he was previously the sporting director at Atletico Madrid. And during his time there, of course, they won lots of trophies. In fact, probably the best period in their, certainly modern history. I haven't checked the old history, but
he was there for ages, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was there for ages.
Long time.
He signed the likes of Rodri and Antoine Griezmann and others.
He's done some impressive big deals for Atletico. A couple that aren't quite as good, such as João Felix and Thomas Lemar. But it's quite an exciting appointment. I've been led to believe that he'd be kind of in the shadows a bit more. Edu's very sort of public facing. I guess that's the nature of having played for the club as well. I think Berta kind of you don't really hear from him so much, and then I hear that he's been slapping Man City doctors. Just come to light as well.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, elaborate.
So in some footage has been found of from the Champions League. Found, like it wasn't. It was, shown all over the world live. There was obviously a ruckus between Man City and Atletico Madrid in the Champions League in 2022, and he slapped someone. He slapped a club doctor. So
I've got a problem with this.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a slap.
You can't be, even if it was, you can't be slapping people.
It was kind of a grab the side of the head in a mock kind of Southern European affectionate thing, right? And then almost like, I'm really tempted to do it to you, Jim, but you've got headphones on, it won't work. That's the only reason. And he flipping the head round.
Right.
So it wasn't like
like a clip round the ear?
Kind of.
I think that's better, though. It's more disrespectful.
A cushioned clip.
Sure.
It was a cushioned clip.
That's very Atletico.
Oh, yeah.
Very,
absolutely.
very Atletico. And I, for one, welcome that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to. If he gets involved with the culture at the club, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to write a letter to the doctor.
He might, yeah.
An open letter.
I think he's coming in to change the culture further, isn't he?
Well,
get some sort of shithousing into the foundations of the whole thing.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Maybe he can take a lot of the burden, a lot of the kind of outside the technical area burden from Arteta. But as sporting director, they don't tend to be on the bench.
Yeah,
do they?
I mean, if he kind of sort of becomes a Edu Tyndall hybrid,
that'd be great.
We'll all be there for that.
Like a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
It's Edu, it's Tyndall, and it's Arteta. And he's a big. But they clip together.
What if Edu's not there?
I know, nor is Tyndall. It doesn't work.
No, I see
it
what
doesn't
you
work
mean.
in any way.
I just wanted Tyndall involved. Berta and Arteta. No, that rolls off the tongue quite nicely as well.
I want a sporting director mechazilla of that type that can finally deliver Arsenal something that isn't an FA Cup. And we all agree on that.
I think that would be a step in the right direction.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I think it's quite an exciting appointment that they've got lovely Berta in, and already being linked with Viktor Gyökeres, who has scored 42 goals in 42 games for Sporting this season. And if we extrapolate
I think it's FC Sporto, isn't it?
He did.
That's their proper name, yeah.
That's right, Sporting
That's right.
Hoops.
Yeah.
And he scored 8 goals for the Swedish team.
Yes.
So he's got 50 goals already.
Why do Arsenal want him
this
this
season? Well, it's odd to think that not that long ago he was a Coventry City player and also at Swansea.
Yeah, I think possibly.
He's 26, he's not a spring chicken.
Part of the reason perhaps that he didn't get his big move last summer was there was a sense that, it was a bit of a lightning bolt of a season for him, and he scored a hell of a lot of goals, but he's repeated that now. He's done it in Europe as well. I think there was a sense that he's probably the real deal. In terms of the type of player he is, I do think he fits the profile of what Arsenal need, because he's quite all action in the way that modern centre forwards need to be to link up as well. I think he's got 11 assists this season, so that would be a big part of it. Now, Arsenal share the goals around a lot, so you want a striker who's capable of getting involved in that rather than essentially just being a kind of head on a stick and kind of waiting around in the area. So it's not the most exciting potential arrival, because I think there are those caveats of coming from the Portuguese league, etc., etc.
But he has played
I think there's a sense as well. It's like, well, he'll just revert to the type, and he'll look like a Coventry City striker the moment he comes to England.
Coventry.
Sure, yeah.
But that's mental, isn't it?
Sure.
I understand, though, me saying to Arsenal fans, he did okay for Coventry. Is not exactly.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I'm saying it's potentially not the most glamorous, exciting option. But the amount of goals he scores speak for themselves.
But guys, listen. I know you're not saying this, but I'm kind of saying this on behalf of you to people who have got these strange opinions you guys think they might have. Players, a lot of the time, players develop.
They develop.
They improve. But they learn things as they go. And he's now 26. When he left Coventry, he was probably, just 23 or something. He's been in Portugal for a few years now, and he's developed as a player. No one is saying... Like the way people talk about this is almost like, Alexander Isak, who's also Swedish and obviously been linked to Arsenal, or Erling Haaland or whatever. They just kind of emerge from a fucking egg, fully formed.
Sure.
In Scandinavia, it all seems to be. That's where all the forwards are.
That's where they all are now. Yeah. But they do need to develop. Haaland is Haaland. And we know what he's capable of, and sometimes at his best he looks totally unplayable. But there's the developmental journey there,
of course,
to get him to where he is now, and it takes in clubs of various sizes. So I don't think it needs to be worried too much about that.
But I think perhaps what Jim is suggesting, and certainly what I'm saying, is that I get the fact that any signing is a gamble. Understand that, but some far less so. With Gyökeres, his best football has happened in Portugal.
Yeah,
and I think for what the words you said, not the most glamorous signing. A glamorous signing would be Alexander Isak, but I mean you're going to have to pay an enormous amount of money, and Isak probably won't want to go as well.
Yeah, sure.
And you look around the continent and other dead certified forwards who you think, yes, that guy would come in and score 20 plus goals this season. There's very
essentially no guarantees of that, is there? And
no.
I suppose
I think it would be worth a punt, although depending on the price tag.
Yeah, I think the price tag will be lower than it was last year, obviously, because he's a year further into that contract. And I suppose the gamble is he's not going to score 50 goals by March or by April rather in England, is it? It's extremely unlikely for that to be the case. You want the gamble is what is the level he will get to. He's one of those strikers who is just thinking about goals, and he's really, really forward and really, really direct, and he's obviously a really, really good finisher. So I expect he'd score goals, not to that level. But Jim, it's an interesting one.
Your point about the price is I think it's kind of erroneous, because fine, he's got a year less on his contract, but he's still got 3 years. And in that year, as Marcus has said, he scored 50 goals.
I think his prospect will be higher.
Maybe.
It becomes more bulletproof as an idea, doesn't it? As a concept. And what's interesting is, and I appreciate people listening weren't privy to this, so I'll just fill them in. There was a little mini conversation on the Ramble WhatsApp group yesterday about the idea that Arsenal would find it easier to get Gyökeres than they would Isak. And Andy kind of chimed in saying, well, you know,
which is what David Ornstein tweeted as well.
It was off the back of what Ornstein said, right?
Exactly. So that, you know,
but I think Andy was like, well, you know, it's not necessarily the case because Gyökeres has got so many goals and teams want him. But to me, given what we're looking at the moment with Isak and Newcastle, I think getting Isak would be far harder.
Definitely.
Gyökeres is coming from Portugal. I think he looks a brilliant player. He fits the profile. I agree with what you guys have said around his talent. Like I said, I don't think the fact that he's played a long old time in the Championship before this means anything other than he's just developing as a player.
I think it probably goes in his favour if he wanted to come back to England.
And exactly, he's moving from Portugal, so that means traditionally players who come from Portugal are very gettable for Premier League teams. The other dimension I'd throw off the back of this though is just the idea that Arsenal are in a kind of interesting situation, aren't they? Because maybe this is unfair. I don't mean it to be unfair, and I'm interested in your guys' take. If you've got a player that's so that level of hot property, right? And you talked about the idea that there aren't that many strikers around. If he's the best of them, say he's the best highest prospect, it's almost like Arsenal will also be relying on the fact that no other team wants him. And what I mean, but I don't mean Spurs or whatever, but I mean a Real Madrid, a PSG, or a Bayern, and so. That I don't know what position those teams are all in terms of.
Bayern won't need him, Real Madrid, but I take the point that some clubs will want him, and I think other Premier League sides, and I think Chelsea may well be after.
I think Arsenal will have every chance of getting him compared to Chelsea.
No, I think Arsenal would be the front runners. I mean, with Gyökeres, you know, his best football, as I say, has been in Portugal. I mean, before he left for Coventry. In all competitions, he scored 22 goals in 50 games. Now, okay, he's in the Championship, but still he scored goals in this country. His first season in Portugal, 43 goals in 50 games in all competitions. He's already got 42 in 42 this season. The man knows where the back of the net is. So I think he would be a good signing. There's a lot of chat about him. And I think Arsenal could get him. But like I say, though, price tags are... It's odd because of the financials. They are more important. You know, back in the day when they splashed out goodness knows how much on Nicola Pepe and so on, you think, flipping heck, you know, what was that all about?
They're in a good position this summer, though, because they obviously didn't spend anything in the window. I think there's a suggestion there'll be a lot of money available across the window and across lots of positions. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a hindrance.
And they've got lovely Berta.
Well, indeed.
To swing
to slap the negotiating team of Sporting Club to Portugal.
To cushion clip.
Yeah.
To grab him by the ear and pull him all the way up to North London.
And Bukayo Saka will be back soon, Jim, and that will feel like a new signing.
Exactly, yeah. Back in training, which is lovely to see.
Yeah, I mean, he might take another sort of couple of weeks.
I think
the hopeful return.
The idea is essentially that, you know, obviously before Real Madrid there's Fulham and Everton, and I imagine he'll probably be on the bench for those games. Hopefully he'll be fit enough to start against Real Madrid, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hugely important factor having Bukayo Saka back in terms of just the creativity and the chances he lays on for other players. It's massive.
Yeah, and they are lacking goals at the moment, Arsenal. They've only scored twice in their last 4 Premier League games, which seems crazy.
He also has a stated ambition to deliver the most amount of second place finishes in the Premier League in a career, so he needs to get back to that.
They need to cement that second place, absolutely. Now, Fulham, of course, are the team who are travelling to Arsenal, and they've got to get over that disappointment of going out the cup, but there's still plenty to play for this season. You know, they're very much in the mix, of course, in that exciting section of the Premier League. They're 8th, 45 points, just 2 behind Brighton and Newcastle, although Newcastle got a game in hand. Marco Silva, in that Crystal Palace defeat, oversaw his 500th game as a manager. Quite impressive.
Great achievement.
For a guy sort of relatively young as a manager as well. And his fellow countryman, Jose Mourinho, was quick to congratulate Silva on the achievement. He posted, "Congratulations, Marco, for a beautiful career based on talent, work, seriousness, discretion. You climbed the stairs where many had the elevator at their disposal."
Well, dig it ASM?
Well, I thought to myself, when I saw that, I thought it was quite cryptic. And then I remembered, as you say, what he said about Alan Saint-Maximin when who had said in response to being dropped by Jose Mourinho in Turkey. When a lie takes the elevator, the truth takes the stairs. It takes longer, but it arrives in the end. So Mourinho's using a compliment to Silva to have a dig at Alan Saint-Maximin, it would appear.
His dig back at him at the time was basically on the lines of, you're too fat to take the stairs, which is a remarkable thing to say to professional football.
It's still going. And this puts Silva in an interesting position, doesn't it? It's like, is it better to ignore this? Or if I ignore him complimenting me, is that some sort of slight that will later come back to bite me?
They must be pals, though. They must be.
Is anyone truly a pal of Jose Mourinho?
But exactly, Jim, what I was going to go on to say was they must be pals, but does that mean that I don't think for a single second that Mourinho would jump straight into that Fulham job he could?
Yeah, right.
Of course he would.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Jim's right, though. He tends to be like, it's like Sir Alex Ferguson was pals with people where the dynamic was very much, I'm better than you, and you get that. But I still like you.
You can do something for me at the moment, so I still like you, but that could change.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the same with
And it's actually a very similar dig to the talking about the Mourinho and Alan Saint-Maximin thing, it's a very similar dig to when one of my all-time favourite dig at a referee, which was Sir Alex Ferguson saying Alan Wiley was booking players just to have a rest because he was so out of shape.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll never be beaten.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Because Alan Wiley, for people listening who don't remember him, was a... and this is me saying it, so, people in glass houses, of course, a fairly rotund older gentleman.
For the fitness levels that you have to have as a referee.
Yeah, he didn't have them.
Well, I mean, he was still very fit.
Yeah, but the dig works because of what Alan Wiley looked like.
Yeah.
That's unfair of me to say that. Don't shoot the messenger. At the time, it worked.
No, but another man's weight has no... it doesn't matter how heavy you are.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is it was an outrageously unfair thing to do.
Yes.
But at the same time, if he had said it about, a really young,
of course,
Howard Webb or something, who's like a racing snake and ripped, like it wouldn't have worked.
No, of course. I've never heard that one.
This means they've not got a scrap of fat on them.
Right. Yeah.
There's no racing snakes in here, I'll tell you.
So anyway, Arsenal hosting Fulham, where we won't see Alan Wiley or Jose Mourinho, presumably.
Well, unless things take a very, very unexpected turn.
But we will see Marco Silva. Yeah. And we could also see some love in the air, Jim, at the Emirates, because Arsenal have launched a new blind date show to try and match single Arsenal fans. A noble cause, one may suggest. An official statement from the club said, match days at the Emirates Stadium are a time to connect with the beautiful game and each other. It's for this reason that we're launching a new dating show that celebrates how a shared love of football can prove a catalyst for an even deeper romance. We are calling on our single supporters in the UK to apply to be a part of the production, which will involve attending a blind date with a fellow Gooner centred around an Arsenal game.
Yeah, the use of the word Gooner is unfortunate there.
It was a bit,
because I'm just going to read out the definition of that from Urban Dictionary. They really should have been on that. One who is completely and miserably addicted to porn, but embraces and loves it. So I'm going to assume that isn't the meaning they put there. See, personally, I'm all for this. My own girlfriend is now an Arsenal supporter who, before she met me, she thought Three Lions was called England's Coming Home. Yeah. She's been fully indoctrinated, not even really on purpose. Possibly just the timing of Arsenal being sort of quite, having some upward momentum as we got together has been good, and we go to games together now and stuff like that. I also like that Millwall now have a mobile phone company. Yeah. Arsenal have a version of blind date. Why not? Why not?
I'm not doing a joke about coming second again.
Is that the prize this time? Jim, if you were single, just go with me.
Come on, Jim.
Come on.
Cast your mind back.
I know you're happily with lady at the moment, so no one said
with lady.
No one is saying anything on that.
Sure.
You're a lovely couple. But just, if you were single, would you get involved in this? Come on.
Would you
interesting.
Jim,
just go with me.
Maybe.
Jim, let's take this the further step.
Yeah.
If you were single,
would you present it like Cilla Black?
And you went on a blind date.
Yeah.
And the blind date you went on at an Arsenal game was with me. Would you be happy or sad?
I would be quite angry.
No awkward silences.
Yeah, but it depends on what you're expecting from the date.
Just awkward loudness.
I think, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm expecting from the date, big boy.
And that's what worries me.
Yeah, I'm not even an Arsenal fan.
Serious administrative error.
I've infiltrated.
Not that type of gooner, I'll be saying.
You'd sit down, Luke would shake your hand and go, I'm Luke, I'm from the dating app and I'm all action, baby.
Yeah, and I don't even support Arsenal. I hope they lose.
Yeah. Well, this sounds terrible.
Joking aside, I think this is a good idea because you've already got something in common, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Everyone should do it.
Absolutely.
Listen, people meeting other people and falling in love is a fucking great thing. And the world is a shit show at the moment. So I think we should be very, very supportive of it.
At any point in history. Luke, you don't have to say the world is...
but particularly...
It's particularly bad
Yeah,
now.
it's particularly bad now, isn't it? There's not enough love, is there?
Well, yeah.
As the Black Eyed Peas famously said,
As they said. Yeah, but that was a while ago. But sadly still relevant.
I'm about to say need to bring it back. We don't actually need to bring it back.
No, we don't need to do that.
But they were on to something there, weren't they?
So Jim, so if this goes well, presumably you'll be sitting in the stadium and you'll look round and everyone will just be getting off of each other.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Not that different, I suppose, to your usual Saturday afternoon.
No.
Well, anyway, good luck, everybody. We hope you all sign up and indeed find a fellow fan to give a Frenchie to. Now, coming up after this, one Ruben Amorim, former teammate, has called him a clown.
Get in somebody's face. Smash somebody.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Of course,
Back to that dating app again. You're asking me what a date with me is like, Jim?
I'm not.
I'll hand you over to Roy
I
Keane.
can't make it any clearer that I'm not.
Oh dear. It is, of course, the Roy Keane derby tonight. Nottingham Forest hosting Manchester United, 8 p.m. Incredibly, Manchester United are undefeated in their last 4 Premier League games. They beat Leicester City 3-0 in their final game before the international break. Mind you, Nottingham Forest are a better team than Manchester United, so they will be favourites. They'll be riding high after that semi-final victory against Brighton, and presumably we will see Hudson-Odoi and Elanga back in the side.
Yeah, and Sangare as well, I think, was rested as well, wasn't he? So, yeah, it's a potentially a fun one, this, isn't it? Because it really just feels like Forest are going to win, but actually Man United, as you say, they've been on a little bit of a run of form and they want to prove everybody wrong.
Why do you think it's going to be fun? I'm intrigued by that, because I think Forest, despite the players that they're going to have come back, and we don't know if Chris Wood's going to be available, and I think they'll be a little bit more conservative, kind of hit them on the break, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think that's where their strength lies anyway, isn't it? That's what I think is so much fun about Nottingham Forest. It's that they attack in these really, really kind of energetic bursts, and I think Man United are an ideal opponent for them, really.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about Man United's run of form, I mean, you've got to put it in context. Man United are a poor side. You know, they're capable of what I would say are like one-off performances here and there.
They're an improving side.
Well, I don't know if I'd even say that.
Right.
I think they're in a holding pattern,
Right.
and they've got a decent amount of talent there that is capable of putting things together through kind of decent individuals. And in some cases, decent individuals are unfair, like good quality individuals in some cases. And beating Leicester, who are essentially down and out and done, totally cooked, is one thing. I thought the performance against Real Sociedad was good because they were tested and they eventually came out on top. They found it quite hard in places in the first leg. They came through, and I thought they were okay against Arsenal, though Arsenal would be disappointed for sure. They were very, very poor against Fulham in the FA Cup. Really poor. That wasn't that long ago. I mean, it's 6 weeks or so ago or whatever. And to put it on the Forest side, this is a game that Nottingham Forest absolutely have to win. They have to, as we keep saying this season, with different teams, when they play against Man City or in a difficult run, or play against Man United, or playing against maybe even Spurs, who we'd expect to be doing better, you have to play the team in front of you, not the reputation of the team. You can't play against a shirt. And if Nottingham Forest want to solidify a top 4 position, they have to beat the team who's 13th in the Premier League with 37 points at home. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not that long ago, keeping it on the Nottingham Forest side of the fence, it's not that long ago that Nottingham Forest had an absolutely brilliant game against Liverpool at home in the league and drew 1-1. And they were defensively really good. Like Maria was excellent that night. They had some really good individual performances. I don't know if you remember the game that well, but they really hit Liverpool early, and Chris Wood was able to score within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And it was a great game. If they can take that kind of attitude into another night under the lights, because I believe that game was in the evening as well.
8 p.m.
Yeah, it would be not easy work, but it should be fairly light work for Forest.
They will be without Chris Wood and probably Morgan Gibbs-White.
Well, that's a leveller, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a shame because we've enjoyed watching both of them play this season.
I think there's a chance that I don't know what you've read, but I've read there's a chance both of those players could play.
Yeah, so Gibbs White is a funny one because it's down as a knock and there's no return date.
And
yet.
I don't think Wood was out for 2 weeks, wasn't he?
Well, the potential return date is this coming weekend rather than tonight.
God,
So
is it a knock or a cushioned knock?
Yeah, we'd like to know that.
Well, the results haven't surfaced yet, Jim.
We've got to wait for the scan, Jim.
We can only speculate.
When they get the scan back, if there's a cushion in it, you think that's a cushion.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Bruno Fernandes will play. And have you seen there's a bit of paper talk around Bruno Fernandes. The 30-year-old Portuguese is reportedly catching the interest of Real Madrid.
Is he, though?
No.
Is he?
For 90 million?
For 90 million.
What does Ornstein say?
Yeah.
He said nothing.
I haven't checked on Orney.
No. Ornstein won a big award at the SJAs last week,
Did
the
he?
Sports Journalism Awards, and I was there. And I sent him a message saying, fuck you, Romano was robbed. And to be fair to him, he did reply with a laughing emoji.
Did he?
But I probably won't message him again for a bit.
He didn't deny it.
So I can't ask him about Fernandes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Real Madrid apparently want Bruno Fernandes for £90 million.
They don't, do they?
No, they don't.
No.
It doesn't feel like they would put that figure out, does it?
No. No, it doesn't, Jim. And also as well...
Who's reported it?
I don't know.
The Daily Star. I just clicked on it. It's the Daily Star.
The Daily Star. Daily Star.
The production team should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves.
I think the production team chuck this in there for us to just quash it now.
Yeah.
But who would you rather?
Well, this has come
in your
from...
side? Would you rather Jude Bellingham in his early 20s, full of beans, or would you rather Bruno Fernandes?
I don't think we can have a dig at Fernandes about it. What we can do is have a dig at the Daily Star journalist who's thought every single player is being linked with leaving Man United because of their PSR thing. I'll just do a bit on this.
Yeah. In the report, it says that they want Fernandes as a replacement for 39-year-old Luka Modric. So it's like, do you think they're scouring around going, we need an old player? Let's replace our old player with a different old player.
But not too old.
Who can grow into being a really old player.
Yeah,
but he needs to start old.
Because if he's too young, he won't be old.
Yes. They want a younger old player is ultimately what they want.
Yeah.
But we suspect he'll stay at Manchester United.
Based on my take on whether Thomas Tuchel was taking the England job or not, expect him to rock up with a shirt there on Monday.
There you go, you see.
He can't because there's no transfer window, but in the summer.
At the time of recording, Ruben Amorim is the Manchester United manager. He hasn't got fed up and walked off yet. But a former teammate of his, Roderick Miranda, has revealed that he is surprised that Ruben Amorim went into management. Miranda said, I never thought he'd become a coach, not because of his football skills or his intelligence, but because he was the changing room clown. When I heard he started as a coach, I was a little bit surprised and wondered how the guy I played with could become so serious.
Well, it is April Fool's Day, isn't it? So there's every opportunity at some point before 12 o'clock today, he's going to go, only joking, and just quit.
That would only be if he started on April Fool's last year. Although if he's misunderstood the day, then I'm here for it, Jim.
Yeah.
If he does that, I won't be nitpicking going, well, actually, you meant to start the joke on April Fool's morning. I'll very much go with it.
What's the best April Fool's joke that's ever been played on you? That time I had to coach Casemiro for a year.
Are you committed to the joke?
Okay, Casemiro, it's now gone past midday, so you can stop doing that now.
Yeah, okay. There we are. Bad news, though, for Manchester United. It's been reported that Chelsea are looking for a way to cancel their obligation to buy Jadon Sancho, and they want to let him return to Manchester United. It said they could do so with a £5 million payment to Manchester United.
How has Jadon Sancho got to this stage?
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sancho...
It's a fall from grace, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, needless to say, Sancho is keen.
It's a flop from grace.
It is.
Yeah, I suppose so. Needless to say, Sancho is keen to return to Borussia
He
Dortmund.
only wants to play football in Dortmund.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm sympathetic to that.
Well, I am as well. I mean, again, though,
It's not my money.
the funny thing is that when he signed for Manchester United for, what was it, 100 million quid or something outrageous, I just remember thinking, like, you're going to a side who are in the decline. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that he's going to, his wages would have been a lot higher. He's back in the Premier League, and Manchester United had a huge draw. I get that. But there was still that slight trepidation, certainly in my mind, when he went there thinking, you could hold out for something a bit more promising and better, because Sancho at the time, he was one of the hottest young properties in European football, lest we forget.
Coming from a really sort of progressive environment, where they know how to nurture players like that and they know how to get the best out of them, whereas Man United clearly wasn't at the time. It always seemed an odd fit, didn't it? Much as you've said about Mason Mount, actually. Yeah. Similar situation.
Totally, and it's one of the canaries in the mine that led us to the stage right now where they just ruin every player. Like it was one of the earlier examples of that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is, it's sad from Man United's point of view as well, because they used to obviously be brilliant at improving players, and particularly young players, whether they be academy players or players they brought in, and he has come. Look, clearly he is at some fault for this because he's gone.
Understand?
Yeah, I think Man United fans listening to this might go, "Hang on, he hasn't played for us this season."
But it's a complicated situation with many layers because, in fact, you could extrapolate even further what you said there, Jim, which I agree with, and say he's replicated that again in a different way at Chelsea, full of players, full of ins and outs and all sorts going on, not have a chance to get settled. And part of the reason he wants to play for Dortmund, presumably, is one, because he's had some good times there in the past. Two, because he'll play. He'll probably feels like a player in his position just needs to play all the time, and his numbers at Dortmund are undeniable. So he's gone
Champions League final with them not that long ago.
He's gone from Dortmund into a massive fire, and then he's gone loan to a frying pan, and now they're arguing about whether he's going to go back to the fire or stay in the frying pan, and the whole time he doesn't want to be in either of them.
No, that's right. And it's been reported that some Man United players don't want him to return.
I thought that was particularly unfair.
I think that's unfair as well.
The reporting on that I thought was particularly unfair by a man who writes for The Sun, who I don't think exists because his name is Arthur Ferridge. I think they've made that name up late on. Arthur Ferridge.
Ferridge.
It's probably an anagram for something.
Can't be libelous. Arthur doesn't exist.
No. Very, very strange. So for those who haven't seen that, basically the reporting was that not only do Chelsea not want him and they want to pay their way out of having to keep him, the news that he's going to go back to Man United potentially has been received very badly by some players who don't want him at the club. It's just a really awful thing to say.
It is.
About a young man.
Yeah, look, I've never rated Ferridge's work. No. Let me say that for the
He's
record.
half a journalist.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I just hope that Sancho, however it could happen, manages to get back to Dortmund at some point in the near future, because that's where he plays his best football. That's where he's happiest. Yeah. And he's a fine footballer.
There's an air fryer there, isn't it?
There is an air fryer. Yeah,
it's great. That's probably what it is.
A lot more versatile.
It's probably what it is. Yeah. So not too shabby. Now, before we go for a break, how about this for a little bit of trivia? Former Manchester United and Scotland player Darren Fletcher has twin sons who played for and captained different countries during the international break. Tyler Fletcher captained Scotland under-19s, who lost 4-1 to Poland, whereas his twin brother Jack led England under-18s to a 2-2 draw with Czechia.
If they're twins, first of all, this is a very confusing story. First of all, one of them's playing for Scotland, one of them's playing for England. Don't know why that is. Secondly, they're twins, but one of them's playing for the under-19s and one of them's playing for the under-18s. Now, I know you can play for the under-19s if you're younger, so presumably it's hard to work out, because that says to me that Tyler Fletcher's better because he's playing for a higher age range.
You're looking at the wrong angle.
He's playing for Scotland.
There you go. That's it.
It's hard to know.
I think it's the latter, isn't it?
Also, Darren Fletcher himself, I think, is only just 41. and his kids are that age.
Wow.
Incredible.
Footballers
do have kids young. Phil Foden got about 6 kids.
He's certainly got a number.
I wouldn't have used him as an example.
What? Who else could you use?
Carl Walker.
Yeah, true.
No, I know what you mean, because I think David Beckham was 23, I think, when he had,
right,
or 24. But they're required to mature because they're in the public eye.
That's right.
And also as well, the manager, especially under Ferguson, was very keen for his players
to get married,
understandably, to settle down.
Phil Foden's got 3 kids and he's only 24.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
tell you, Dillian White, the boxer, I think I'm right in saying that Dillian White at one point was the youngest father on record in the UK.
Wow.
He had a child at 13 years old.
Blimey.
Yeah. Not a footballer, so it doesn't really count on this show, but I just thought I'd put it out there anyway.
Could they get in the ring together?
On the subject. Maybe they will. Yeah. That'd be odd, wouldn't it?
It would be odd.
That'd be absolutely horrendous.
The Klitschko
absolutely
brothers.
awful. A true new low, that.
What, for the country or society or
sport?
Humanity?
Yeah. Oh, boxing would do it.
Exactly.
The Klitschko brothers famously said they would never fight each other. They got under a lot of pressure to do so at certain points because they had belts and stuff, but they never did it.
Which is a shame, because the Cray twins, they fought each other.
Yeah, they did.
Did a lot for the area, though.
They did. They helped out. Didn't let their own, did they? Eh?
Exactly. Coming up after this, Andy Murray meets Lionel Messi at last. Oh dear. Wolves versus West Ham tonight. It would have been. Is it still the Julian Lopetegui derby?
Nah.
Not that.
Was it ever?
Is it the Max Kilman derby?
By the way, I've just noticed that before the break we potentially alluded to the idea that Darren Fletcher's sons might be the new craze, which is an angle you're not going to get on another show.
I would say so. It's always important to do something that nobody else is.
I don't feel comfortable. Surely, if there is a Lopetegui derby, it has to be Real Madrid playing Spain.
There you go.
Doesn't it?
Or this one. I mean, look, or we could call it the Lopetegui derby, or I think this is a bit more mouthwatering. This gets the juices going. It's 17th versus 16th in the Premier League.
Come on,
Hey,
we should have kept this behind a paywall. This preview. what a entertaining. My goodness me!
I can't believe this is on a Tuesday night.
Well, Jim,
this is a Super Sunday booking, surely.
Yeah.
there is a lot at stake here because if Wolves win, they would go to within 5 points of West Ham in 16th.
Wow.
Whereas if West Ham win, they would join Manchester United on 37 points.
Yeah.
So again, it's
the
it's
relegation
all to play
battle.
for.
The relegation battle. Ipswich got 17 points, then Wolves on 26, then West Ham on 34.
It's just done, isn't it?
It's
totally done.
That bottom three is just quicksand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just absolute quicksand. None of them are getting out of that.
Yeah. Is it as boring as the title race, Jim?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think they are equally boring, actually.
But if in the next round of Premier League games, to put it back on you, if Arsenal win and Liverpool don't win, it's 9 points with 8 games left.
bugger off.
Still 9 points, though, isn't that? That's the problem.
What percentage of hope would you have?
You'd
have to have some.
2%. So what you'd look at there is you'd think, well, Arsenal have the opportunity to go to Anfield and win, so that would cut it further. That's in their hands, obviously difficult. So you might have a glimmer of hope there, but
There's always
it's not happening.
I remember looking at the clock and there was 82 minutes gone at Craven Cottage on the weekend and Palace were 3-0 up and Fulham had the ball up one. I remember thinking, have they scored here?
Yeah.
That does make it just 2 goals with 8 minutes to go. Do you know what I mean? There's always like that 5% of you, which is utterly ludicrously ridiculous.
But what's your percentage chance now of hope with 12 points where we currently are? What, 1%?
Yeah, 1%.
So it'd move it to 2%.
Just simply acknowledging that it's physically, mathematically possible is the only sense of it. But I think you seem to be under the impression that I'm going to be gutted by the end of the season. It's like, we couldn't overturn that 12-point lead.
Ideal for me.
And I don't think if Wolves stay up, Luke, they're going to run on the pitch and celebrate the great escape. I mean, I was
going to flip it back on you. I was going to say,
okay,
if West Ham beat Wolves handily and Ipswich win their game,
which is against
Bournemouth away,
right? Well,
Bournemouth aren't great at the moment. They're not.
They're better than Ipswich.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, will they have any hope?
Yes.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's not. We're not bereft of hope here. Is what I'm saying.
Count Binface has hope when he goes into an election, doesn't he? And we've all got hope for him, but we know it's not going to happen.
Ant Middleton's going for the Mayor of London. He's got hope.
But there you are, you see.
Yeah.
You see. So I think that's what it is. We are desperately trying to find something in the in either end of the table.
I don't want to talk about this game. I don't know how much clearer I can make it. I don't want to talk about it. So what do you want me to say?
I want you to apologise.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well, can you talk about Graham Potter at least?
Here's some of the preview information in this game in the actual running order.
Right, go on.
A social media site has asked AI to generate a stereotypical supporter of each Premier League club. West Ham came off worst. Their fan had gravy spilt down his shirt.
And it's not just a bit of gravy, is it?
No, that's as good as it's going to get. Well, on one hand, I don't want to derail this totally, right? But on one hand, this is my life at the moment. I spend 50% of my life
down the mines,
terrified that AI is going to kill me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I spend the other 50%.
That's because you're mates with Pete.
Looking at how fucking shit it is.
Yeah.
Look at the state of that West Ham fan.
Gravy down the shirt.
With spilt gravy and a beer belly,
Yeah.
AI gives the West Ham fans a hammering.
It's not
Arthur Ferridge in the Sun. It's not Arthur Ferridge. Should be, though.
It should be, though. Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the other fans, the Tottenham fan looks pretty good.
The Man United fan just looks really sad. He's a middle-aged sad man, and it's got it absolutely spot on there.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
The Chelsea fan has got a sort of a Mr. T kind of medallion thing going on. There's a lot of gold medallions around that neck.
Isn't it mad how shit AI is?
The Arsenal fan is actually just Jim.
Yeah, but he's also drinking. This is how bad AI is. The Arsenal fan looks a bit like Jim, but younger. Do you know what we're saying?
Yeah.
He's drinking a fucking latte in a pint glass. AI can't even work that shit out.
I don't know. It feels like a dig, though.
Yeah, the Newcastle fan's spot on, to be fair to it. Absolutely spot on.
They didn't even bother with the Fulham fan because it was just Hugh Grant.
Be honest now, Marcus.
Yeah, go on.
What's better, right? A 42-minute show today,
right,
or a 46-minute show with Wolves versus West Ham in it?
Okay, would you allow me this? Okay, Graham Potter has been manager for West Ham for almost 3 months now.
That's one of the most boring sentences in history.
All right, 9 Premier League games. He's won 3, drawn 2, and lost 4.
So dull.
Can I get your comment? Can I have a hot take on that?
This is like watching an episode this morning. That's what this is like.
Okay. Jim, I've got one for you.
Yep.
Vitor Pereira has been in the Wolves job a month longer now than Graham Potter and boasts a similar record.
It's not a boast, is it? It's not much of a boast.
If you ran this through AI
Yeah.
and you said, what's the most boring Premier League game in history, this would be up there.
Okay.
And I include all those Liverpool-Chelsea games in there.
Can I try?
They might as well implement their own rules in this. Like just heads and volleys?
No
Heads
one
and volleys
noticed.
for this one?
Jim, no one noticed. It'd end up 1-0 either way, possibly 0-0. No one would notice.
No one would notice.
Yeah.
Can we have a Lionel Messi update?
Yeah,
please?
that's pretty
There
good.
we are.
Is it some way going to segue into a Fizzer update?
Could do.
Get a bit of
we
Fizzer in
could
there.
do that. Inter Miami beat Philadelphia Union 2-1 at the weekend.
Philadelphia Union.
Well,
Now there is a union we want.
He doesn't even manage them. Philadelphia
I'm
Union.
just pitching for it.
That's
yeah,
nice.
Fizzer Miami doesn't work, but anyway. He scored the winning goal. He dedicated his goal to Novak Djokovic by celebrating like Novak's forehand tennis shot.
The thing is, he didn't even really. I know that sounds dull, but he didn't even really do that.
Well, he went to watch old Novak play at the Miami Open, which Djokovic won, of course. And Andy Murray is currently coaching Djokovic, which I found quite strange for reasons I can't publicly say.
You see why Murray would be a coach, right?
Yeah, him.
Well, you basically think that Murray is a good bloke and Djokovic is a terrible bloke. And that, so it wouldn't work.
It's more specific than that.
Yeah.
Just
Murray got vaccinated.
Again, more specific to tennis, but it does involve a bit of that.
I don't know.
Have I said too much already?
I don't know anything about tennis.
Okay, I'm going to stop now.
Okay.
But anyway, Murray posted a photo of him and Messi on social media saying, I asked him if he could do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke, and he responded, Cállate la boca, which I think means yes in Spanish, which of course it means shut your mouth. I don't think Messi said that.
I think it's a bit of a mistranslation. I think it actually means show some fucking respect.
Well, indeed, Jim, and I think you should to old Fizzer. Did you see though that on a press conference recently there was a journalist with a Liverpool cap on who asked Fizzer a question, and Fizzer said, "Hang on, so what's on that cap?"
Yeah.
And he went all serious. And then he tried to be a bit Joe Pesci. Okay, don't do that. But seriously, don't. But he was a bit of menace.
But
behind it.
he was laughing, wasn't he? But laughing in the way that saying ha 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 is laughing.
Yeah.
Like he was annoyed. He was
He's a
trying
bit-
to show that he wasn't, but he
is it-
was.
It's disrespectful to the Fizz, though, isn't it?
I
Turning up
think
in a Liverpool
it's
cap.
incredibly unprofessional going to a press conference for a game wearing
in
a
any
Liverpool-
team's hat.
Yeah. I mean, what are you doing?
Thomas Tuchel does it.
Yeah, of his own team. And he's not a journalist.
True.
Is he?
I suppose
Tuchel's fine.
I suppose context is important.
We've already established that Tuchel should be wearing a bowler hat anyway.
Yeah, we have.
With his face on it.
Right. I think it's time for us to shut our mouths. Thanks for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. I'll be back tomorrow alongside Andy and Vish to pour over that game between Wolves and West Ham tonight. Make sure you subscribe in your favourite podcast app so that you never miss an episode. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jim.
See ya.
And thank you, Graham Potter.